Okay, now again, everyone. Alright, I've decided to change the way I'd done this. I wasn't happy with it. And also that thin press mesh was extremely hard to weld, and the weld itself would have been a nightmare to try and clean up, and it buckled, and I wasn't happy with it. It didn't look the way I wanted it. I was also concerned about it holding the heat, and it was a little closer to the muffler than I would have liked it. So I run with a different idea. Basically what changed was when I tried to fit that press mesh onto the lower, or the cage below the hood. It just did not want to work. It was difficult, and so I thought, okay, well, I'll go with something else. I went searching around my yard and around my shed and found some different mesh, which is actually considerably stronger. It'll breathe better, let the air out, and should not get warm. And I put that around the bottom, and then I looked at the top, and I wasn't happy with that, and so I decided to change it. Anyway, what we've done here, and I'm having a lazy, I'm wheeling myself across on my chair. Basically, because I've taken about 1/2 inch or so, which is probably could have gone a little bit higher, but anyway, that's still hanging down that bit more. But yeah, it's a bit higher off the muffler, so it should be alright. I found this bit of round rod up the top, out the back. So I bent that to the shape of the hood. This was another issue with that mesh, is it wasn't really holding the shape. You could still push it in. You'd push it in and the mesh would go up and down, so it wasn't really holding the shape of the hood anyway. So this round rod will hold the hood well, and that's good base to weld the mesh onto. All of this mesh will again be welded from the underside before it's cleaned up, and the rod itself will be fully welded onto the panel from the back, and then I'll grind those tacks off pretty much completely. Debating whether to drill a series of holes in that plate too, just for cooling. Haven't really decided upon that yet. What was I going to say? I haven't been able to finish these parts as yet because I haven't got the chrome chips as yet. I'm hoping to get them over the weekend. And I basically only need one for now because they're a bolt-on, but what I'll need to do is either find a bit of pipe that fits tightly around the chrome tip, or because chrome tips will be bigger, there'll be a space between them so that the chrome tips will protect your hands so they don't get hot, so they won't actually be touching the exhaust pipe. But I'll have to either find a bit of pipe the right size, or shape a bit of plate, like fairly reasonably heavy plate, around the outside of the pipe, and then weld that into the mesh and into the frame at the top here. I'll probably, because they'll be sticking out, I'll put a support down on the bottom too, I think, just a little bit of square tube to hold it still, and then yeah, the chrome tips will then be able to slide into them and be bolted in. The thing I did, because this is curved, I welded the straight pieces on first, and then I've had to, push these down and tack them in, which sort of leaves a bit of stress on it, and then it was trying to, lift this outer frame up and sort of springy. So what I've done after that, I've got my gas torch, and I've gone over it with the gas torch and heated it, which also burns all the old paint off. This was a bit rusty too, as I said, it was sitting out in the backyard, so that'll be right. It'll clean up well enough. But yeah, so not only burn all the old paint and rust off, it takes the spring out of it and de-stresses it. The other thing I've noticed is I've put this muffler centered with the motor, but the motor isn't actually centered with the body. So I've got this one here is 15mm wider than the other side. This one actually almost sits between the two bars. So I'm going to have to cut it back here, take out 15mm and weld it back in. Otherwise, that will look quite silly if one is sticking out further than the other, especially when it's sort of approaching the bend, like this one finishes just before it bends, whereas this one finishes, sort of halfway through the bend. So it would be noticeable. It'll look quite silly. So yeah, I will have to move that. Anyway, yeah, I wasn't going to make another video until I had all this finished and painted. But yeah, because I've had to change it, and I wanted to show you the process while I'm halfway through it of using the rod to hold the shape, and also clamping it down. These are quite good. This is actually the only thing that fitted between the mesh out of all my clamps, but yeah, the only disadvantage is they're plastic, you can't weld next to them, but yeah, they're great. They're quite a solid spring in them. So, yeah. Anyway, I'll move my lazy feet back over to my table, and yeah, catch up with you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.